Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this part of the show is kind of painful, because I think it's supposed to be comic relief, but it's also mostly used so the two could set up proxy wars against each other, where Ranamon will find people that are in love with her and tell them to go attack Zoey, but then Zoey will be so pretty that they can't do it and instead help her fight Ranamon. It's just a dumb conflict, like who's sexually more attractive? This evil fish monster, or this 10-year-old girl? I'm personally uncomfortable with both answers. But yeah, Zoe and the others get away because of dumb comic relief, and this rivalry comes to a head during the Sakakamon section of the season, where Zoe gets trapped in one of those balls with Ranamon, who first tries to get these bees to kill her, and they don't do it because she's too pretty to kill, and then she uses, like, poison to make her have bad memories about her past. You know, you could have just used real poison. So yay, we finally get to learn about Zoe. We've had hints to her past given throughout the season, some forms of flashbacks or references, but now we finally get the full story. We learn that she's a rich girl from a rich family that went to a rich school full of other rich people. But these rich kids don't like Zoe because she lived in a different country for a period of time and can speak a different language, which makes her snobby. Except for this girl who's Zoe's friend, but then she finds out that everybody doesn't like Zoe, so then she doesn't like Zoe, and Zoe gets upset about it. Honestly, this little flashback isn't outlining a specific character flaw that Zoe needs to overcome in any form of arc. This is just people being dicks to her for no good reason, and just serves as an excuse for Ranamon to come out and say, oh, nobody likes you, they're not your friends, which is a conflict we already had like 2 episodes before. They're already recycling these. And this reveal to me doesn't work for what we've seen of Zoe so far. She seems to be friendly, outgoing, nice. She can be the center of attention, she can be humble, she can be funny, she can be a lot of things. She doesn't come off as though she was a victim of bullying and has this massive inferiority complex that can lead to her ultimate downfall at the hands of an evil Digimon. If it was something more related to something that was established, like, say, her looks, she's afraid that if she didn't look good or wasn't pretty, then nobody would want to be around her and everyone's just superficial like that because that's how she was or treated in school. Whatever. Then I could say at least that was built upon previous scenes where we see her obsessing over her looks and seeing other people obsess over her looks. Then you can see that sort of building that complex. But no, this just seems like it's a tragic backstory just to have a tragic backstory. And the resolution is dumb because she doesn't even have, like, I would say a real emotional crisis about it, because Ranamon comes out and talks about how she has no friends, and Zoe's response is, yeah, you're right, I don't have real friends, I believe you, but I'm gonna be nicer, and then maybe I'll have real friends, and then that snaps her out of it. And I hate this ending for 2 reasons. One, because it just solely revolves around Zoe just rolling over and accepting whatever Ranamon says, but snapping out of it because she vows to be nicer. And number 2, I don't recall her being overly mean. I mean, in the past, yeah, she could yell at people and get a little frustrated, but nothing I would say is, like, cruel. And everything that even came remotely close to cruel was just played for comedic effect, so I didn't take it seriously. And she doesn't come off as any more or less nice than she did before being confronted with that flashback, so I don't think anything really changed. Zoe, to me, has a lot of problems. But for the rest of the season, she doesn't really do a whole lot. It's at this point they really start retiring these characters. So I'm just going to do final thoughts and character design critiques, because we got to get on to talking about JP, where we'll talk more about Zoe, but just more how they kind of play off each other in their relationships. So we're not officially done talking about Zoe. So yeah, final thoughts. I don't really care for her. During this whole season, she was just a character that was just there. I didn't really have many strong feelings for her, for or against. She just came off as a very generic girl character. Like, I can't even pick or choose a defining character trait about her other than she is pretty and to me that's just not enough to make a memorable character. No other character or personality trait seems to be that well defined about her, and even the show feels like it doesn't know that much about her, just judging off the flashback. It doesn't feel very character specific other than the fact that she's the only one in the group that knows Italian. Nothing about her personality or the way she acts. Like in the flashback, her big problem is that she yelled at a girl who didn't want to be her friend and then immediately regretted it. Is that to imply that she has a temper? I don't know, maybe? She to me doesn't seem to get any angrier than anybody else in the group. It overall just felt like a way to get a flashback for her because at this point all the other characters were having flashbacks. But while the other characters you can see have flashbacks based on the way they've acted in the past or actions in the past, as opposed to Zoey who just comes off as a generic bully victim because it's sad. But we have to move on, and like I keep saying, we'll talk about this later. So we're going to move on to character design, and I'm not that big a fan of them. In fact, in some cases I find them kind of creepy, because they're both kind of revealing. Now, I'm not trying to have a holier-than-thou attitude about the idea of fan service or revealing clothing on women in cartoons and TV shows. I'm not a prude, nor am I a feminist. I have no problem with this as long as it doesn't do two things, both of which I covered in Cross Wars. Either A, when it becomes a character's sole purpose and thus discrediting all sort of build-up and suspense that was had, hoping for some sort of payoff, or B, when it involves people that are underage, which the latter of we're seeing here, where we are seeing a 10-year-old girl inside a different body, but still, she is 10 years old, running around, hitting people in the face with her ass, wearing nothing more than was essentially bra, panties, and garters, attached to some knee-high boots. This goes for both evolutions. I'm just throwing that out there because while I don't have many things overall to critique about the designs, I still don't really like them because I feel mildly creeped out by 1, their choice, and 2, what they were intended to do, and how the show expected the audience to react to them. But with that out of the way, let's just get into the specifics. You have the first evolution, Kazemon, which is just bland as all hell. While most of the other evolutions have some sort of power armor on to at least make it look a bit more intricate, Kazemon does not have that. All she has is her underwear, a dumb-looking visor, long, flowing purple hair, and fairy wings. Not much else to it. I guess you'll like it if you like the color pink. Her Beast Evolution Zephyrmon is not great, but it's better than Kazemon. It looks a little more detailed and fleshed out with the armor. With the scarf over the face, it kind of looks like it's going for a ninja theme, which, okay, that's fine. I like the wings better. My biggest complaint for this in terms of design is that, once again, for being a beast evolution, it doesn't look too beastly. It looks almost as human as Kazemon did. But I think we've had enough of Zoey for now. It's time to move on to a character that I actually kind of like in some ways.
Join the true capitalist army to save us from fools like this. He's a melting pot of friendship, don't you know? If you're a serious dude and you want capital, then buy some stock and drink Blue Label. It's the swag.